To everyone in the United States and around the world, this this is Dr. Melody Harris Barrow. Welcome once again to our show every Thursday at 7 o'clock. We have a special guest today, Patty Patry, women's empowerment leader and entrepreneur. And of course, our host, Dr. Marcellus Hall. How are you today, Dr. Marcellus?
I'm doing fantastic. Very excited to be here. It's a very important topic, and I look forward to this conversation.
Yes, yes. And how are you doing, my darling Patty Patry from India, Hyderabad? How
Yes,
are you today?
I am so thrilled, excited to be here
Yeah,
with you
yeah.
and talking about this topic because I'm really, really passionate about this stuff. So, yes, I'm very excited.
Very good. So let's get started. We have 45 minutes, and I want to get started right now because there's a lot to talk about. And I want to first start by saying thank you for accepting this invitation. I want to mention to everyone I met Patty, I think in 2018, I believe, at an award event in the
Yeah.
city of Chicago. And we talked about so many things, and we want to work together. We're working together by starting this show for her to be a guest on this show. So thank you for accepting our invitation, because we are going to talk about the all of the things, like many of the things that's happening in India, with the women in India. And I see now that you're the women's empowerment leader in India, and of course, an entrepreneur. So let's get started. I first want to start by the lower caste. Let's start there because I want to get right into it, because women in India have been suffering for
Yeah.
centuries. This is centuries. This is not yesterday, a year ago, centuries. And it doesn't seem like there's a dent. I mean, there could be a dent that I don't know about. This is why we have you on the show. So let's talk about the lower caste system. Define it for our audience, because our audience, many of them are not aware of what's
Mhm.
happening in India. So let's get started. The lower caste system in India. Go ahead.
Well, in India, it's the societies, the communities are divided into different caste systems, and this caste systems come from way, way, way before when the rulers were ruling the part of India. Well, it wasn't India before; there were different states, but basically based on their occupation, their caste was determined. So if it is a ruler, then they are called kshatriyas. If they are a learned priests, they are called brahmins. And if a person is doing working, the jobs, the dirty jobs that nobody wants to do, they are the dalits or the lower caste systems. So that is how it all started, based on their occupation. So it's not really where you are born to, based on to which sect of society that you are born to, based on occupation it started. So the Brahmins who are treated, they have the high status
Yes,
because they are the learned ones. They are the the people who are closer to gods. They are the people who talk to the gods and communicate to the people. And the kshatriyas are the rulers. Of course, they are of the high caste. So there are a lot of, so the whole society is based on this particular caste systems. And there are many more which I'm not naming today. I myself don't know how many caste systems exist to this point.
yes.
So
Now, would
yeah.
you say, to break everything down, would you say the lower caste are the darker Indians? The lighter Indians are called the higher
Brahmin,
class?
yeah, the higher class. So
The higher class.
right. So if
Okay.
you see India, so there, I mean, again, there is the North Indians is very fair skinned, the South Indians are darker skinned because of the way the sun is.
Yes.
And the lower castes are doing the dirty jobs being outside under the sun. So
Mhm.
with the time, there they have more melatonin, and that gives you the color. So that's why they have the darker skin tone. And so now people associate, just by looking at a person, just by looking at their color, they have this preconceived notion that you are lower caste and I am higher.
Yes.
So it's just an inbuilt system now.
Mhm. But let me ask you this real quick. For example, this picture I'm looking at, this is what you call the lower caste, right?
Yeah, right. If I
Okay.
just look at the picture and I don't know anything, the first thing I would think is, yeah, they are from the poor, the poor caste or the lower caste.
Okay. Now, another thing I want to ask while I have these pictures up. When you have, let's say, the young lady that's behind the young man that's in front, she's a little lighter complexion. Would she be considered also a lower caste?
Yeah, I mean, based on the way she is dressed and she's living, I would think that she is the daughter of somebody who does,
Right. The lower class.
yeah.
So basically, this is about poor and rich, black and lighter skin, basically.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So how, because I know because of this, there's so much that's been happening with the women in India. They are called what they untouchables. Is that another word? The untouchables. Where did that come from? The untouchables.
Yes, it is sad. It is really sad. Yeah, it is
Yes.
the system that the higher caste cannot even touch. In fact, there are people who think this is, I mean, this is really shameful that I even mentioning this.
Okay, we need to learn. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Yes, we
That
need
if
to
I
learn.
even-
Yes.
If I even touch that person, my blood will become impure.
If you touch, let's say, for example, this woman here, she's considered the lower class, she's black. So then if I touch her, what would happen?
Your whole bloodline becomes impure, and there are people who believe that.
So that's why they call them the untouchables.
So
Yeah.
they can do all your dirty jobs. So I saw that. I mean, I saw this in my house too while growing up. My
Yeah.
grandmother. So we had servants. So we call them the servants who come and do the jobs. They can do everything, but they cannot enter our kitchen because kitchen is something sacred. Like you cannot enter the kitchen. You have to use a different bathroom.
Mhm.
You cannot use the same bathroom as ours. And
Yeah.
this is a standard. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure even now it is happening. So
It's still happening.
yeah, it's still happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they can't eat with us. They have to sit separately. In fact, they would sit in my house. They would sit in front of the bathrooms. They have to
Yeah.
sit there and eat.
Yes.
This,
Yeah.
this
Right. I'm aware because when I was in Hyderabad, I saw that. And I was asking, why they're always, they're coming from in the back. I mean, this reminds me of America during slavery. It's the same thing. So we just have different names. We call them the untouchables. And in America, they call them back then the N-word. You know, we are in America. They're saying that the lighter skin will work in the master's house, and there where you're at, the lighter you are, the better you are. Yes. So let's talk now about the treatment. I want you to really tell me just the same story you just got through saying about in your home. Tell me more. We need to learn what are the other things that they couldn't do. The untouchables.
Well, they don't get the same anything in every part of the society. They are struggling. They have, yes, the children of the lower caste system have a quote. We call it as a quota system. That means they have reservations within financial, like education and stuff. But when they go to the schools, they are not treated equal. The rich will not sit with them. They are treated separately. They cannot eat with everybody. There is, I mean, in every part of life, it's not just like growing up you're done. Okay, after if you are educated, you're done. It's not that. It will carry you throughout your life based on your last name. So your last name, if somebody ask you, they will actually know which caste you are just from your last name.
Okay, give me 2 last names that you know of that you can identify me based on my last name.
Well, I know, like, at least, like, I know who is a Brahmin, who is of a higher caste. Like, if somebody is from, say, I don't know, like my husband's, he's a Jain. So if somebody's last name is a Jain or a Shah or a Mehta, I know they are this. So I know they are of upper caste. So I know that I can have relationships with them.
Right.
I
What
can.
about names like Patel? That's the higher class.
Yeah, Patel is a higher class.
Patel is that, yeah. It's very common. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a higher class. They are the working class. They are the business people. So that's where the thing comes into.
Yeah, I've met a lot of Patels. That's why in the business arena.
Yeah.
So that's why, yeah.
So if somebody is a Patel, I know they are into business.
How can you? I want to touch it. How do people elevate themselves out of that? What's the possibility of basically, having the opportunity to elevate yourself out of that position? Are those chances possible for people?
Well, it is right now in India, it is changing, but it's not up to how we, even in America, like, I saw the civil rights, I saw all that history, I learned about all that history, and it was just recent, like 1970s, and everything changed. Mm-hmm. Today, everything has considerably changed from where they were. But in India, it's in so many layers, so many shades. Like, get into that system and change. The politicians are sitting and creating that difference. It's the whole freaking system. The politicians, the society, the businessmen, the people who run it behind, everybody is a part of the system. So if something has to change, it has to come from the people mindset, but also in all these different layers. So if I have to get out from the system, maybe I just have to leave the country or become rich somehow. If I'm successful, and then people will listen to me.
Yeah. That sounds very similar to what you see a lot of times, even in America, that we see now, even in our ghettos and our projects. You kind of succumb to that lifestyle traditionally, and it stems over to just socialization economically, just infiltrating our entire government system as well, to the point that at a young age, people are so focused on what their hustle is to elevate themselves out of that, trying to get rich. And in that road of trying to get rich, they find themselves very often making mistakes, which ends them up in prison. It kind of keeps them in that, that perpetuating cycle. So it is an issue that does need to be highly recognized. I know you have a lot of issues within the culture with the dominance of man, the rape culture, which India has is in the top 1%. One of the top 5 countries in the entire world with the highest ratio of rapes, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, very simple.
Now let's talk about what Marcel just got through talking about, the rape. That's like a culture there now. That's the culture, right? You mentioned earlier, we were talking before the show, that women, when they're walking down the street, they're kind of protecting their breasts and protecting themselves, because man can come and grab them and nothing is being said. Let's talk about the justice system there. As far as if I was raped and I go to the police station, what happens?
So first let's talk about the everyday normal girl. Like, I come from a pretty middle class family. I'm not like, my family is not poor. I am pretty privileged in the way that I have money to go to education and stuff like that. And I live in a city, Hyderabad. I used to live in a city, Hyderabad. So a girl like me, even when I'm walking outside, I always have to be watchful. And I'm getting on I have to take a bus, a public bus, to go to my college.
Mhm.
So it's like a train. It's like I'm trained since a child that a girl has to be careful. It's the girl's responsibility to be careful.
Yes.
So I would, in a bus, there is a pole,
Yes.
you have to hold that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
Yes.
the women would want to stand there so they can put their hands up and they can, cover themselves up so that nobody would come and touch. And then they're always watching. It's a normal process. You're always
Right.
watching. You're always a man. If somebody is coming next to you, you would just move around, or you put a bag next to you. This is a normal thing in a train, in a bus. You're going to a movie theater, you sit, somebody from behind will touching your butt with their feet. They will be messing with you. So this is everywhere. This
And
is not
every day.
every day, every single day. This was my life. And when my husband asked me, I told the story to Dr. Melida about how he asked me before I had a daughter. He said,
Yes.
would you rather, would you think that raising our daughter in India would be more safer? And I'm like, immediately no, in US.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Because I came to US in 2004. Since then, I was never physically touched by any person around me with my consent. And this is where I come from. I'm like, hands down, it is his. And he was amazed. He was like, why would you say that? My mother is living in India. She's safe. I'm like, you don't know what's happening. The men do not know what's happening. The brothers do not know what's happening.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It can be a town, village, city. Women are going through this. This is the educated society's problems. Now, yes, physical abuse is a very common thing. It can go up to the rape, and it can happen in families. An uncle abusing a niece or
young girls. Yeah, I was about to ask you about that because I am in Chicago. We have a district with India. It's all the businesses, and that's how I got to know all the Patels. But there is some friends I've had, and they talk about. I know one of my friends. She mentioned that her uncle raped her for many years, and the family knew and didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So it seems that it's either acceptable in that way, or the women are scared to talk about it. Even when women become to a certain age, right? They don't want to talk about it. And this is why when I meet women from India, there is a timidness, of women. They don't speak out. Not like the women we met at the program that you and I were. I mean, I found she was unusual, and she said, "I'm going to speak out, and I'm going to," and she did, and I was amazed because actually she was the first Indian woman that I've met that spoke that way with that energy, and because she's tired. She's an elder too, and she's tired. So when we talk about the police department and they go and they make that report, nothing happens. It's almost like that's the culture. Deal with it.
Exactly. Deal with it. Yeah. I mean, it's your mistake. You provoked that person. Yeah. You wore a low neck dress. Why did you wear it? You better cover yourself. So when I used to get out of my home, my mother would not allow me to go like this. I have to put a stole, we call it a dupatta. I have to do that. If my neck is a little lower, they would come and then, pin it up or do something. Like, I have to be always covered. So my dressing does not provoke the man. Yeah. So we are always have to guard. This is the mindset. Like, you have to be careful. The man is like that. They are like that. But you
have to protect yourself.
Yeah, it's a personal responsibility.
They don't have no control over themselves.
Yeah, it's a personal responsibility. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Another thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about your program. As a women leader for your country. Tell us a little bit of the things that you're doing for the women in India?
Well, right now I have opened up my programs to work with India. This is so interesting that you have called me at this specific time, because this is the time that I opened up and really working with women there, entrepreneurs there, and people who want to get out and be independent and be financially independent. That's my goal.
Yes. Love it.
All starts with being dependent with the man, because they don't have financial independence, so they have all the decisions are made by the man, because the man is bringing the money to the home. So the abuse, everything they have to go through, because what will they do if they divorce? They can't go back.
They don't have nowhere to go,
because the mother will not, the society will not accept a divorcee, and it is a whole burden on the family, because they are not they are not independent. A woman who has, even now we see that in our families, in my own family, a woman who is well educated, she gets married and she becomes a homemaker, takes care of the home and takes care of that's her job. Well educated women who studied, who's doing exceedingly well in her academics, that's her ambition, to be a homemaker. And this is programmed since her childhood, that your job is to take care of the man of the family. They are the first and you are the second.
Yes.
So this is a programming. So what my programs is really bringing that self-worth, self-confidence, to elevate yourself, so that you get out and have the courage to dream big, have dreams.
Yes.
And have that commitment. Yes, you can do it. And the second thing that I really have seen and talk about is, we don't have to settle. We don't have to settle for anything less than what we deserve. So the first thing is really believing that I deserve. The second thing is not settling to anything less than what I deserve. So this is something that I've been working with the women there and doing some group program, and it's incredible, because no matter where in the society you are, even a person who is in the corporate going to work and coming back, the women is expected to do 8 to 5 job, come back, take care of her house, do the cooking, and take care of the child. So this is something like, if I go and work, if I have deadlines and I work on the weekends, so I would be asked, what is the kind of work that you're doing that you have to work so much without taking care of your house and child? Right. But if a man works, oh my God, you work so hard.
Yes.
You work so hard.
All still expected from a woman. Yes.
Yeah. So this is the attitude difference between a man and a woman.
So let me ask you this. When a couple from India comes to the United States, does that change or does it remain the same, the culture?
Well, they carry the culture with them.
Yes.
It changes probably a bit, but not to the grassroots level, not to the personal reality level.
Yes.
Just to maybe have a conversation. Yes, that person, this is what we are. But when you go back home, it's the same.
Yeah. It's the same thing. I read also there was two women attended the temple, and she was beaten by her mother-in-law, because I understand that you cannot be on your menstruals when you attend the temple. That's a no-no. Women cannot go to these temples, while they're on their menstruals. And when she got back home, her mother-in-law almost beat her to death. Talk about that.
So the one thing that growing up in India is that the period is considered impure. So having a period is impure. So you cannot go to a sacred space when you have a period, because that's impure. So you cannot enter the kitchen. You are made sleep outside. You cannot sleep with everybody. You are made sleep on the floor. You don't get a bed. You're slept on the floor, and nobody can touch you. This is again, nobody can touch you, because again, you are impure. So having a period is impure. So nobody can touch you. You are cast aside. You're separated from the household. And luckily, I haven't seen this in my house. Like, I didn't go through this. But when I saw it outside in other people, like my friends, my own friends, being treated like that, I was appalled. Like, what is this? What is happening? And I remember this. This is in US. I went to a home, one of my friends' home, and there was a ceremony. We call it a puja. There's a ceremony, a ritual going on,
Mhm.
and then I was like, I was being normal. We are in US in her house, and I was like, okay, I just called my friend and said, hey, I got my period. Do you have a pad or something? And then she just took me to the room. Okay, Pari, don't come to the ceremony area, please. Just sit in the room.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I was just like, I was just
You
shocked.
didn't expect that.
I was
Not
just
being in
shocked.
the United States.
Yes, I did
Yeah,
expect that she would tell me not to sit there and sit in the room because I would somehow disturb. And I was shocked, and I just left that place because I just couldn't be in a place where I was not welcomed.
exactly. Well, the reason I ask about that too, and when I read that, I was shocked because I remember growing up in Panama City, Panama. My grandfather, this was a very serious thing with him. If I was on my period, I could not go in the kitchen.
Hmm.
Mm.
So when I read this, it reminded me of my life growing up. And I was shocked because this is happening in India. And here I am, all the way in Central America with the same custom. If I was on my period, I could not even get close to the kitchen because there was two doors. The exit was in the kitchen and the exit was in the living room. So if I had to go outside, I would have to exit the living room. I could not pass and go through the kitchen.
Yeah,
So when I read that, I thought that was interesting. And you also mentioned, and I want you to guide us through this. For example, the lower caste, the untouchables, when they are, take me through the process that when they are getting married,
hmm,
and take me through the process of when the upper class is getting married. Take me through that process.
sure. So marriage for a girl, if a father has a girl, then it is a big burden for him. It's a big thing because first thing is, in India, it's all arranged marriages. That means the father will find the boy for you, and the parents will decide, and they will get married. Of course, now it is changing. The boys and girls are getting married, but still in rural areas, it is the same. The
Mhm.
father has to choose and whoever they choose, children have to get married.
Yes.
If it is a girl, we have a dowry system. What is a dowry system? That is, it is illegal. By the way, it is illegal, but it still happens. The father of the girl has to give a certain amount to the boy's family because they are giving away the daughter, and so that they will keep the daughter safe and sound or whatever. So the dowries are ridiculous. They will ask for money, apartments, like property. They can ask for things, car, whatever. There is no limit for that. They can ask anything. And and this is because now, and also the marriage, the wedding is a big show thing. Like, the bigger the wedding, the bigger your status, the bigger everything is. So the father, since the girl is born, he's saving up money for her wedding so that she goes into the family and he gives this money. So this is how. And also now, here is the thing comes. So if the girl is the way, the requirements for the girl, for the man,
Mhm.
man can be dark, fat, whatever, it doesn't matter. The man can be unemployed, the man can be whatever it is, it does. But the girl has to be fair skinned, the girl has to be slim, the girl should know how to cook, the girl she has all these requirements.
Age? At what age?
Well,
What age is that you like 11, 12, 15? What?
Well, no, that is illegal now. So child marriage is illegal. I'm sure it is happening, but the legal age is 18 years old for women. So they
Oh,
start by 24. The women normally is like should get married, and of course
right.
now in the cities it is much higher because of the education. The girls are now coming out of their homes, and
Mhm.
are 30 probably is the age where they will start saying, okay, now you should get married.
Right.
um, but so yeah, the skin, so the girls actually bleach themselves because they want to they want to look good,
Look
and
lighter.
they want to look beautiful. So beauty is associated with fairness.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So okay, so also the darker the young girl, the more money they have to pay for her
Yeah, because
parents.
she doesn't fit
Dark.
the requirements. The fairer skin they are, they become more okay. My child is beautiful, so you know what? Then there's a competition. But
Mhm.
for a darker skin, is because she's not beautiful. First thing is it's
Right.
considered. So
Right.
then you have to sell your daughter to get married.
Mm.
Yes. Now, I have to ask this question. It was British colonialism there, right? Was the British?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
British colonialism. Yeah.
Yeah.
200 years.
Yeah, I have to bring this in because I do believe that they have most likely a lot to do with the fair skin being better.
Hmm.
It was implemented, and I'm going to tell you why, because India was not the only country and it's not the only country even today where we have the lighter, the better,
Correct.
more opportunities being a lighter woman. And that is because of what we were taught. We were taught that when we are lighter, like our colonializers, then you are better. So we have adopted that in the world. The
Mhm.
world have adopted being lighter, even though you're black or you're native or whatever.
Yep.
Being lighter complexion, you will have or get more opportunities.
Mhm.
So even with the names, you had mentioned some names, and I've mentioned some names that I know of. It's funny how a name like Patel, when you just hear it, you know it's business. When you hear another name, you know that is poverty. But I thought, because I read a lot about the untouchable years ago, and I thought once you are an untouchable, being black, no matter if you have money or a university degree, you are still an untouchable based on the color of your skin. Is
Yeah,
that
if you are wrapped up in that kind of a system in India, then yeah, you can get out unless you leave that system or you leave and move
you
or
leave the
something.
country? Unless you leave the
Yeah.
country. Yeah.
And also the second thing is, as we know with the name, there is also the part of the country, the city of the country that you come from. So
Exactly.
northern is lighter, the south is darker. So the
Yeah.
north guys feel superior from the south because the south are normally darker. So when people ask me, where are you from? And I say Hyderabad, you don't look like you're from Hyderabad.
Exactly.
Then I'm like, okay, what do you mean by that?
Yes.
What do you mean? And that's where I get really passionate. I'm like, why did you say that I'm not from Hyderabad? Just because
Right.
you look at my color and say I'm not from Hyderabad? What
Yeah.
does it mean? So this gets me whole. I really get bummed up when somebody asks me this question,
Yes.
because you have this preconceived notion. As soon as you hear the city, the name, you're already deciding what that person is.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Based on the region. And
Mhm.
and when I was in Hyderabad, it was such a great experience for me because I attended a church, Christian church. I spoke at the Christian church, and they were all dark skinned people. And I'm going to tell you, I saw, even though they were in church, right? I saw so much pain. The pain, especially the women, mostly the women, and I could feel the pain. But once I started talking to them and telling them how empowered they are and how strong they are, but they don't know it, you know,
Yeah.
they just had this smile on their face because apparently they're not being empowered. No one is telling them how beautiful they are. No one is telling them. And I'm going to tell you, this is not just in India. This is in the world, you know. And I have a message for women today, especially women that are being abused mentally, that are being abused physically, because I want to share my testimony. I was mentally abused. But guess what? I didn't know. I did not know that I was mentally abused until I went to the lawyer, as I was mentioning it to you, Patri. And once I got there, I said, you know, I want to get a divorce and so forth. So she said, were you physically abused? No. Were you mentally abused? No. She goes, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I know if somebody hit me. She goes, no, when I ask you about mental abuse, I don't mean somebody hitting you, right? And she goes, I tell you what, I'll give you these pamphlets and I'll let you read that. And once I started reading, I didn't even get halfway. I just cried. I cried because mental abuse is a serious thing. Because I was being told, you're nothing, you'll never be anything, on a constant basis. And I was being told, you can't do it, Mel. You'll never be able to do what you say you're going to do. And all these negative things. And it was just horrible. But guess what? I did not know that this was mental abuse until I read that pamphlet. And a lot of women out there, a lot of women, even that you're leaders and you're going through all this, there are a lot of women that saying that they're strong. You're telling yourself, I'm strong, but then you keep hearing all these negative things, but you're trying to be above water. And that's what I was doing until I got to know who I am, what I am, and then this is me. I got to go, because what's going to happen, low self-esteem is going to kick in. I am not going to believe in myself anymore. I'm going to lose myself completely. So what I had to do is to regain the self-esteem. I had to regain everything, and I had to walk away, because I am that I am today. Why? Because the mental abuse can be sometimes worse. They're both bad, but this is something that you're constantly living with. You know, the pain, there's a pain. So I want to just say this to the women today that's listening around the world. You are powerful. All the things that Mrs. Patri said, these women are going through this on a daily basis. And this is why I have my own women's program to empower women as well. But at the same time, Patri, I love what you're doing. I've watched your inspirational program on Facebook. And that's why I had to have you here on this show, not only to talk about all the things that they're going through, but we also have to encourage these women. We have to tell these women how powerful you are. And I have to say this. I'm going to tell you, ladies, I'm going to look in the camera directly to you. I'm going to tell you something. Even in India, women, you are so powerful. And I'm going to tell you why. Who are raising the children? You. You are the one that's raising them. You are the one that can tell your child, this is not the way you treat women. You treat women with respect. You love them. You don't abuse them. You understand? We have so much power, Patri, that we can teach our children from birth.
Yes.
We can lead them. But the problem is, again, Marcel, is you still have the men there saying, no, beat them, because that's how they respect you.
Yeah, it's not just the men. There can be women, mother-in-laws, telling like, hey, don't do this way.
Yes.
So it's the whole thing. So yes, we have to, it's with our children, empower our boys and girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a systematic approach. You know, we talked about this a while back when I was telling you about the demoralization that the Russians were using on their people, and that the Americans had adopted, and the British
Yeah.
people adopted, and the British people used it in other cultures. They used it for what you have in India, where it's called the British Raj. They used it in South America. They used it in different parts of Central America, as well as in Cyprus as well, because the psychological warfare is much deeper than any type of physical trauma,
Yeah.
because it infiltrates your mentality. When you change somebody's doctrine, their philosophy, you change the way that they perceive things, their lens on life,
Yes.
their scope to what they see, everything, their analytical approach to everything, their conceptual framework. And when you change their conceptual framework, that changes their standards, that changes their natural response to things around them. And without changing that philosophy base, without changing that cognitive framework of how they perceive things, that lens, you can't change that attitude,
Yes.
and you won't change their actions. So
Mhm.
it is a combination of a lot of different approaches, but I do agree that men and women alike have to muster together and gather in arms and cultivate first within themselves and their children, their households, to change the philosophy and the cognitive framework in which they perceive life. Because
Yes.
until then, it will just continue to perpetuate itself. It becomes systematic within the individual. And it's an individual that goes into these government positions and makes these decisions. And that's why the government is the way it is now. When we talk about the government's ran by people. And
Mhm.
it's a man that sits in that
Yes.
chair that has
Yes.
that mindset that this is okay. And that's why this is happening.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that point. I want to let our audience know. Thank you for sending in those messages for us. And I want to thank really, Patri. You are a great woman for what you have gone through, even
Definitely.
though you had those privileges with your families, but then you still came back as an
Amazing.
adult. You know, it takes a woman, a real woman, to come back to help her sisters where she came from. And I do the same thing because I know what a woman can goes through, So why not go back and reach out and educate them and teach them the things that you have learned? So I want to thank you for that. I would like you to take a minute or so to close and just send a message to my ladies in India, my women in
Definitely.
India. Send a
Absolutely.
message for them. Yes. Go ahead, Patri. Send a
Okay.
message. Yes.
Well, the only thing that I always say is, this is like the one, it may sound 101, but it is, we have to believe in ourselves no matter what. No matter what, we have to believe in ourselves. And that is at every single step, because challenges will come. There will be fears.
Yes.
There will be resistance. But the only thing that will take us forward is that belief, and that we can absolutely create our own reality no matter what. There is no power. We don't need to seek approval from the outside. The approval is always within us. And it's a time to reach out and take our power back.
Yes. 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 My sisters. Now, as a man, Mr. Marcellus, I would like you to send a message to the women in the world. Can you do
Oh
a
man.
poem and send something to these women in the world? Can you do
Oh.
that for us? Or just say
Yes,
something. I'll
yes,
put you on
definitely.
the
No,
spot,
no,
but
no,
just
no.
say
It's
something
it's
to them.
it's 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 definitely. I want women to dream big, dream big, and understand that the manifestation of all creation that infiltrates every soul fiber and being on this planet. It comes from what we call Mother Earth. We call Mother Earth because it gives life, and it is the woman that gives life to everything breathing, from the trees and everything, the animals that flow through the air, even to the human beings that roam the earth. Everything comes from that of a woman, and it's sacred. And I just think that it's so important that a woman understands the value of her nature, of her nature, of her purpose, which is to cultivate life and the God life. And even that within itself, understanding that a man is not who he is without the assistance of the woman. And I say that myself, first and foremost, that if it had not been for my wife and her support, ongoing, because it is challenging. And it is that woman that is there that is constantly in your ear and
Yes.
in your heart, and is your motivation to do everything that you're doing.
Mhm.
And from experiencing that myself firsthand, I want to always encourage women to remember that about themselves, that without the presence of a woman, the world would die, humanity would die. So we need you. So understand that you are the divine and supreme being, and nobody can change that. And that's why there's so much resistance to keep you down.
Yes.
It's because the man understands the divinity of your power.
Oh, I could kiss you right now.
Yes,
You
me
deserve
too.
a big hug and a kiss for that, But I just want to say to everyone, and to my sisters in India and the world, especially my sisters in India, because you are going through so much.
Yes.
And I want to say that the world is waiting for you. The world is waiting for your brilliance.
Mhm.
Because as you can see, the chaos in India is going to take you to fix it. Because for centuries, men have been trying to fix something that they cannot do. It takes you to fix it. So, men in India, I have a message for you. When you abuse your woman, you're not a man. A man don't treat a woman the way you're treating her. You're abusing her. You're mentally abusing her, physically and mentally. That's not a man. A man is just who the person that just spoke right now, Dr. Marcellus. That's a man. And we need more men like him in the world. So, all men in the world that are abusing your women and hurting your women, when your son watches what you're doing, most likely he will do the same or he will go against what you have done to his mother. So it's time for us now to change the world, but we have to change it together.
Definitely.
Men, we need you. Women, I know men are saying they need the woman, but not that way. It is time for us to heal. Don't let your colonializers, and I'm going to say it again, don't allow those that came into your world and showed you the mass beating that they have done to you. Now you're doing it to your women. Enough is enough. Let's heal. Let's love one another. This is why the show is called Love, Truth, and Peace. With truth, you're going to love in order for all of us to have peace. I want to thank you once again for watching Love, Truth, and Peace every Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. I want to thank my co-host, Dr. Marcellus Hall, and my queen, my queen, Pat. Thank you for watching,
Thank you.
and good night.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.